Hello, everyone. We are live, despite the universe's best attempts. Um, all right. Hello, everyone. So, I had a sinus-related headache for most of the day. It literally passed like 5 minutes ago. Um, well, 30 minutes ago. I was sleepy as hell. I made myself some coffee to keep myself awake. And when I went to start streaming, OBS literally just refused. Like the start streaming button did nothing. I restarted OBS like 3 times. I restarted Linux twice. And eventually it worked. But yeah. Every time you boot Ubuntu, something breaks. So it's Linux. What do you want? I feel like I'm on Arch. I swear to God. Maybe I should do the distro thing after I'm done with the um editor thing, because I'm genuinely so tired of Ubuntu. It's so bad. I'm hoping the other ones are better. One can only hope. All right. So today I'm going to be using, hold on, let me open the I don't know why Firefox has trouble restoring my last session every single time. Every single time. Even if I have like one tab, it just struggles with that. Okay. I think like macOS is something between Windows and Linux. It is. It's commercial, so it has a lot of the good ease of use that Windows has. But it is also POSIX and made by competent people, so it has a lot of the good things that Linux has. I would consider it to be the best of both worlds. I wouldn't call it Windows-ized Linux because Windows just has a bad connotation in my mind. I'm assuming in most people here's mind. Okay, yeah, so I started out with VS Codium. Obviously, I don't want to do that anymore. I liked Zed. NeoVim has a little bit too much complexity. And also, even though I kind of liked NeoVim at first, LazyVim just destroyed its chances of me liking it enough to use it. Now it's time to... Kate was okay-ish, but all the features that it has, Zed has, and better. As well as features that Kate has that aren't very good, like its Git dev thing, which I use a lot. And today we're testing out Micro. I don't hate Windows or Linux or Mac OS, but because every OS has positive and negative functions. Windows has fewer and fewer positives. It used to have the, oh, you can game on it. It used to have the ease of use compared to Linux, but more and more Linux is becoming easier to use and supports games better. So, and Windows is just actively enshittifying itself. So there's like, they're just losing the plot. They're just losing the plot. It's coffee. I spent most of the day in bed between having a headache and being tired as hell for whatever reason. I slept well. I don't know what happened. I'm assuming it's the headache. So I have some coffee to wake me up. And yes, please, any micro pros in the chat who can recommend plugins, that would be amazing. I do remember there were some commands to install. There they are. Thank you. Nice, Dave. Detect indent, file manager, manipulator, and jump. How do I install plugins? All right, let's do some time management real quick. Don't need to have my own project open. Time in milliseconds, clock time, fopen, libc, Unix current directory, relib examples, make a software, and raylib. Micro plugin install plugin name. Thank you. Sure. Ooh. I do have it, okay. Is it micro then? Yeah. Okay. I have it, but I don't have it installed. How do you quit this, by the way? I'm literally more tired after I sleep when I slept good. The fact that you have to learn how to quit a program is already like enough to me not being interested in it. Command Q, Control Q. All right. Yeah. So we're gonna start by moving micro to home bin micro, and now I should be able to do micro. Yes. Alt G. Oh, okay. Alt G and then Alt Command Q for the most used shortcuts. Thank you. Let's keep that in mind. Okay, now it's in the path. So we can do micro plugin install. And then I'm seeing mail manipulator. No, just manipulator. Okay, detect indent. I do remember there were some issues with indent with it, so that was a little bit of an issue. File manager, manipulator, and jump. I learned, oh my god, the other day I saw a tweet teaching basic terminal shortcuts, which I never knew, like how to go to the beginning of the line, how to delete the current word, how to go to the end of the line, and I just didn't screenshot it or save it in any way, and I completely forgot what it was. How in the world does Excalibur remember what I drew last if I don't have to sign in when I open the page? It's all saved on your browser. I need to fix text-to-speech, by the way. Although this is pretty much the only time it gets used, and I almost knocked over the cup. Yeah, if you do Control S, it will save your document to your downloads folder. Okay, I installed one, I think. File manager, manipulator, and jump. I'm not sure if I can do this with comma separated. See, I'm already forgetting a word. Okay, hold on. Might as well. Control A to beginning of line. Alt B for back one word. Interesting. And then what to go forward a word? Alt F. A. Nice. What was the last one? Jump. What happened? Oh, I forgot the word install. Except that's gonna try to install these three already, but we're good. All right, Alt F, Alt R. No, Alt B. That's weird because F is here and B is here. But B goes here and F goes here. Who am I to question? Oh, it was Control W to delete a word. Who am I to question the wisdom of the Unix developers? I do that all the time, but who the fuck am I to do that? Okay, did we get a file manager? Did we do anything? What? I cannot tell.
Movieman raided your channel with 51 viewers.
Thank you for the raid. You guys are just in time. We're starting out. And we're testing some... microcode editor. The microcode editor, not some microcode editor. Which I have no idea how to navigate. How are you? What have you been up to? I already forgot what you told me. Control E? Yeah, that's not working. Oh, do I have to type in the word tree? Okay. Yeah. Alright. Interesting. And then error of checking if it's there. Steam path. No such file or directory. Alright, well that's not important. Making a programming language in something solving advent of code with it. Nice. Love compiler design. Gonna hold on, I'm gonna want to watch that next time you're live. Didn't get to OS dev yet. It's a whole thing. Micro and Helix are the only terminal text editors that ship with an LSP that just works. I have to say I like them. Quite a bit when I tested them. It's funny. I eliminated NeoVim from the running because I was like, I don't like the way that it works once I customized it. I wonder if I should be... No, I'm not. I'm just not gonna complicate things for myself. I'm good. I was thinking of bringing Helix back, but no, we're good. Okay. What are we actually doing today? So, yesterday, and I believe the day before, I was working on a cross-platform... well, on porting my library for my operating system. This one, which is called shared here, but it will be renamed to redxlib. No, just to redlib, sorry. Red for redacted. Lib for library. I was creating redxlib for the cross-platform version of it. The one that works on Linux, Mac, and I've been told it's quite hard to compile it. And it doesn't work very well, but also Windows. I guess I'll have to fix that eventually. And today, I want to expand the game engine that I made to, you know, have some new features for that. Not exactly sure what I'm planning to do with it. I mean, I'm planning to do a hacking game for which I have some stuff written here on what I want it to be like. But I don't know what I'm going to be doing today with it. Left arrow, right arrow to expand and collapse folders. Yeah, I saw that. All right. Actually, kind of good that I'm in my home directory because I am going to be working on different projects. I don't believe I have officially started a project for my new game. So maybe I should do that. Did it update by any chance? No. Can it update if I just do something like this? Can you go to a previous directory? No. Tap to open. Okay. Yeah, there it is now. Heck. And I put myself in this directory. Okay, cool. Alright, I'm liking this. What's Jester doing? Jester! He was licking his thigh, okay? I'm not defending him, that's what he was doing. But, Jester, come on. Come on, man. I media trained you. You should know this. Actually, I noticed yesterday he was doing the same thing in the thumbnail for the stream and I never changed it. So, let me do that real quick. Motherfucker. No? It changed? Alright, it changed it, I guess. Alright, never mind. False alarm. Or it was a different one. Maybe it was this one. Nope. Alright. Well, was that James Charles? No. Well, I don't know who that is, but someone else made it onto the thumbnail without me. I mean, with me. And there was a chance that it could have been James Charles, but it's not, so we're good. Okay. Wait, actually, before I even start doing any of this... I don't know where to start. Alright, the previous game that I made now mostly runs on Linux. Native, without needing to run through my operating system. it is quite glitchy because collisions are driven by some vector math that is not correct. But input works, graphics work. That guy should not be floating the way that he is. But yeah, for the most part, it works. And today I want to start doing stuff with the engine and then, you know, do the vector math later on. But we are doing an entirely different type of game. See, that was a simple 2D sprite type of thing. This is a 2.5D. Is it 2.5D that I'm going for? Isometric is the word. So I kind of want to consider, like, first off, do I want to use 3D models? Or do I want to use sprites of rendered 3D models? I need to consider that. If I want to do 3D models, then I have to figure out the OBJ file format, which if I'm not mistaken is a super simple file format, but I still have to do that. And then I have to do a 3D renderer. Software 3D renderer, because in my operating system, there is no hardware acceleration on the virtual machine. There will be for Raspberry Pi, but I need to get the system to work on the Raspberry Pi first, and I kind of haven't... Actually, last night I made some progress with that, but I need to figure out some PCI stuff to get it to work. And I don't know how to fix it on the Raspberry Pi 5. I genuinely am so close to giving up on the Raspberry Pi 5. Nope, 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 nope. So I need to figure out those things before I start doing anything. And then I think most likely I will need to do the math stuff. Okay, let me start with the math stuff, actually. Like, forget the rest. I'll have to fix this. Hey. Did it crash? Yeah, well, I don't think it crashed, but something happened. Alright, we have math vector.h, which tab to open, there it is. This header that has some built-in functions for vector manipulation code, which should work fine on Mac, ARM systems, and on my own system, but not on x86. And actually, some of it, I just had to silence the compiler errors, so I made some very wrong... Control-W, switch buffers. I see. Is there a way that I can close this one? Because I'm not planning on using it. I mean, I'm sure there is. I can just switch to it and then Control-Q, right? Don't save it. All right, there we go. Yeah, some of these functions are straight up wrong, because what I should be doing is calling the equivalent of this function, but instead I'm just returning an argument, which is just to silence the compiler warnings. So I need to figure out that before I do anything else. And the functions have very descriptive names, such as fad. So, I have to figure out what that means first, and then what the x86 equivalent of that is. Fadd pv2sf. Lovely. Click and drag the divider? That didn't work before. Oh, okay, it just doesn't change the cursor, but it does work. Cool, thank you. Alright, actually, checking out editors is so much easier when you have someone in the chat that knows how to use them. This is Google, by the way. I would have called it a DuckDuckGo issue, but no. Did I misspell the name? Fadd pv2sf. F add PV to FS. SF. Change nothing. Without chat, you would still be struggling to figure out Neovim? Oh, come on. They have a 30-minute tutorial. Who doesn't love reading a tutorial? I would have never used Neovim. See, at least with streaming this, I have accountability that I'm not gonna just, like, break the rules. Never built anything on my own before. How do you even figure out where to start? Do you have something that you want to build? Then just that. What's the easiest thing you can do to start? And then how am I supposed to Google this when there's literally no results? Break it down into like kind of more manageable elements and then see how to build each of them. You copied the selection and that did absolutely nothing, didn't it? The fact that there's literally no results for this is ridiculous. Arch64 fadd. Okay, I spelled it exactly the same way, and the only result is not even my own code, which, mind you, is on GitHub, available for everyone to see. No, it's not even there. I'm the only person in the world using it. I'm literally not even here. You would think at the very least it would give me a result to my own code because I'm using it and it's public. But no. The only result is GCC mirror. I mean, from the name, I can assume it's float add p vector to I don't know how to put it. You'll make a fence equal to Thunder Force. I'm assuming you don't mean this. Wait. No, okay. I saw you said the word series, but no, you're not talking. This is a movie also, and it's a Netflix movie. Well, maybe you want to start with like, okay, picking a game engine. You already have some knowledge in Unity, so do that, and then like figure out like, okay, what... I couldn't even find a screenshot of the game, so I cannot really give you much information, but like, what's the main player character's... what's the main player character? Figure out like how to get something, even if it's just a capsule or a little square or whatever. Moving it around the screen. Stuff like that, and then start adding elements one by one. Okay, I'm assuming this just adds two vectors together, right? Which is something that I've already Googled, and I didn't really find a whole lot of information on it. This has the docs. Thank you. Floating point add pairwise. That's probably what the P stands for. Pairwise vector. So let's try to decode this. It's floating point add pairwise vector to vectors, I'm assuming. San Francisco. Maybe not that. Or SF SimDFP. I'm assuming. Character moving around the screen, but it was because I likely entered tutorial hell. But you can start with a tutorial and then just like eventually what you want to do will deviate from the tutorial And at that point, you can just start searching, how do I do this thing? And that's pretty much how I've built everything. Okay. Let me just Google this then. This is Rust, but between Rust and x86 assembly, you might as well just be speaking Chinese here. I have no idea what I'm reading. Wait, why did the chat stop working? Ah, great. OBS is having issues again. Let me open it on here. Floating point addition, pairwise vector with 2 single float. 2 single float. Okay, that's what it stands for. I remember there was a header for this. Do I still have the import? No, I deleted everything I did that day, so I don't remember the if I'm not mistaken, it was ammintrin.h. So what's the if look like? Defined. Oh. Okay, it's saved. Not sure what this is, but I think it's saved. Alright, so actually I want to go into the OS make ROS. In tin. Okay, well that's a good sign, because I misspelled it, but I recognized it. Okay. Any of these don't look like they're what I'm looking for. Yeah, this is not what I'm looking for. How is there so little documentation on this? Using vector instructions through built-in functions. That's about right. Okay, these were it. I remember it started with MM. Instructions that contain SIMD vector instructions which operate on multiple values contained in one large register at the same time. For example, in x86, the MMX 3D Now and SSE extensions can be used in this way. Okay. Wasn't my computer in the toolchain? Yeah, but that's for ARM. I need the ones for x86 because this is for the cross-platform stuff. For that matter, this code should run fine on Mac. I haven't tested it. Probably should have. Because the game should work fine on Mac. But yeah, I've done some hacks on x86 and I need to figure out how to do it properly. What an absolutely useless article. Thank you, GNU. Okay. This is one of the functions I want. And of course, Rust somehow has better documentation about this stuff than anyone else. And Microsoft, and like, I don't even know. No. To call this nice documentation is a bit of a stretch, but yeah, this is the first one I opened. Eventually, I ran into the other one that's specifically about the instructions, the floating point vector stuff. And the SIMD instructions, but this, maybe? No, it's Intel. My god. Which of the many generations of extensions do you want to use? I don't know, whatever works. I don't even know. Why am I doing this? Oh god. Wasn't it? Didn't I do like MM before and it worked? Okay. These are the MM functions. Im_intrin.h. Feels like we're getting close. The compiler will use them for you with optimizations on? Well, not if it doesn't know what instruction to use. That's the problem. Although, let me see if I can get away with just... Okay, what's this one do? This one just adds... Okay, so can I do a float 32 times 2t cast of a0 plus a... Nope, not a1. B0 and then A1 plus B1. Okay, do we like that? Do we like that compiler? Let me know. Seems to like that. Alright, if you like that, I'm good with that. What else? Vmax F32B. Okay, this one is pretty much already inlined. The square root is going to be an interesting one. How am I going to do the square root without... All right. The clank check should be under Arch64 as well, so you can use clank on x86. Isn't clank mostly for Mac? Or am I misremembering that? But, no, I was having issue. It used to be. But I found it easier to do it this way. That's how I natively compile this for Windows. All right, well, let's leave those ordering things for a moment in which I'm using an editor where I can easily move code around, please. All right. Oh, that's just not the important thing right now. That's the only reason I don't want to do it, okay? That's the only reason. Trust. Okay, what's Vmax? I need to figure out what this function does. Vmax F32B. That's not what I was trying to do. This is the worst tiling editor I've ever seen. Vmax F V2SF. I'm assuming it... It does, well, if you don't stick your paw in your ear, it won't hurt. That's not helpful, is it? Vmax is the instruction, the other again, float point vector too short. Oh, yeah. Does it just calculate the maximum between two values? Feels like. That's just so hard to Google this stuff. Let's Google it as Vmax F32. Floating point maximum vector. Okay. What's the equivalent of that in x86? Or how do I implement it? Or what the fuck? The Unity Burst compiler. That's so... Is it compiler? That's something I haven't heard in a long time. Floating point maximum vector. Compares corresponding vector elements in the two source registers, places the larger of each of the two floating point values into a vector, and writes the vector to the destination. As in larger x and larger y, or larger vector that has... It's not super clear. Max PS. Packed single precision floating point elements A and B and return the corresponding maximum values. Can't believe Unity is giving the best docs on this, right? They've done some pretty interesting compiler stuff. Let's not pretend. Great job on their end. Unity and Rust. This is insane. The x86 one takes 128 values, but then it claims that it's single precision 32-bit floating point elements in A and B, but each of them seems to be 128. So what are you going on about? Jester, are you just gonna be doing that the whole stream? Come here. Come. Come. Nope, he doesn't want to. Alright. Should I just... hold on. Maybe 2 pounds. Problem solved. There was like a lot of hair in that blanket, by the way. You can still see his shape under the blanket. You know you're doing some interesting shit when universities, Unity and Rust have documentation for it and nobody else. What the fuck is this? Yeah, so the compiler intrinsic equivalent is MM max PS. But it is 128. So if I do that, MM, flip it around, Wicked Witch, what was it? Max PS A B. All right. Did I even put it in the right place? Yes, I did. There it is. Implicit declaration. Okay, so first off, I'm not even importing the right header here. It's float 32 x4t. Damn. What a horrible, horrible thing to have to do. What am I using this function for? I feel like I kind of am using that function, but what's the point? Is this... This looks like Rust, I feel like. Intel's documentation. I just want to know which header this is in. Please. I'm hoping this is reject, because I'm not reading all that. Zero documentation on it. It's like, here, it exists. What exists? This thing exists. Yeah. Good luck. Absolutely useless documentation right here. My god, I just wanted to make a simple point and click game. Well, simple. I have been working on this for 3 weeks and this is all I have. Because I work on it 1 day a week. But, how is there no documentation on this? How is it possible that you have not bothered providing the slightest little bit of documentation for it? Oh, yeah, I misspelled it. Thank God. Max. Is there another one that has... No, why are they all 128? Intrin.h. Alright, so at the very least we have that. No, we don't. No, we fucking don't, because microphone. I always keep wanting to say microphone instead of Microsoft. I'm trying my hardest not to say that word. Okay, no, genuine question. Am I using this function? Can I search or some? Oh, yeah. Does not seem to be used. In vector. Cool. Fuck it, we're skipping it. Alright, the square root of a vector. It's again in the same header that doesn't exist with 128 value. But this one should be hopefully easier to search for. Script. Square root of double precision floating of the packed double precision floating point values in XMM128 and stores the result in XMM1. Okay, but why is it by default 4 values? I mean, I kind of get it. I kind of understand that. I just hate it. Yeah, so there is genuinely no functions for 2D. Why? You never had to compute a 2D floating point value? Square root? Oh, why did I think this was scrollable? Move. Comparisons, specials, addition, subtraction, square root. Intrinsics cheat sheet, here it is. Again, Unity to the rescue. With a single 128. Why is it so complicated? Why does it genuinely feel like they just haven't bothered? Even documenting this type of stuff? So I'm assuming that I can do r square root ps. And again, a Rust documentation, no GCC documentation for it. Benchmark stuff. I don't even know which header I need to import because it's so hard to find it. Is this person doing the opposite of what I'm doing? It feels like they are. Okay, I already know the name of the function. It's square root ps r square root ps. I'll probably need to cast my float 32 to a 4t, and then s, which it won't find it. Cannot convert. Damn it, that's fair. But can I do something like this then? I wonder. No. I can do the more complex S0, S1, 0, 0, kind of like that. Incompatible types returning type M128, but float 32 was expected. All right. 32x2t. Of course, because this is not working with... it's an M128. What the fuck do I do with an M128? And I'll be right back. All right. Well, seems like I've mostly figured out what I need to do. I just gotta figure out... Probably use to M128 as a parameter and as a return value. It is using it as a return value. I just need to figure out how to convert it to... Trying to let the compiler ignore the upper 64 bits. I mean, it's kind of ugly, but I believe I can just do this. Right? Obviously, it wouldn't be return anymore. And then, if anything, I would return a float 32x2. How did I do that? Not sure how I did that. Cast of R0 and R1. So essentially adding two zeros at the end in order to do the operation, and then removing two values because, yeah. Seems to have compiled. All right, let's see how this goes after the add that's starting now. I'll be back in 3 minutes. All right, we're back. And seems like everything compiled with this ugly ass thing. And oh, okay. Yeah, this one I haven't implemented yet. I haven't bothered, but I'm not using it, so I'm not gonna bother right now. But essentially the way to implement it is pretty much by doing this. Right, just with I have to say I like Micro. Has a lot of more useful things out of the box. You don't have to spend so much time configuring it just to like copy and paste. That's pretty nice. Not to diss NeoVim in any way, but yes, to diss NeoVim in any way. All right. What was this one? God, who remembers? Max PS. Except here it's A0, A1, B0, B1. Ooh, what the... Okay. And the result of this one is an M128i. Which means... Yeah, we might be good. Nah. Too few arguments. Ugh. It takes two. Yeah. You're out of here. I'm not bothering with a function that's not even being used right now. Alright. That compiles. I gotta go down into the library and compile that. Yeah, I might have used the integer version now that I remember I saw an I there. That still doesn't work. Yeah, everything's messed up. Oh, wait, no, okay. Okay, I see what the problem is. Okay, so the way that I'm rendering the textures is leading to this happening. This is an entirely different issue. Because in my system, I have some nice functions to render textures partially, which Raylib I don't believe has. To automatically handle like cropping of those textures and whatnot. As for... Oh. I possessed something. Something happened. But I'm not sure what it is. Nothing's moving. Okay. What is causing that bug? Yeah, no, thank you. Nope. Nope. Oh. I closed the wrong thing. Wait, Alt. Oh, damn it. Alt G. And then... Tree, was it? Yeah, tree. Cool. This is the input stuff, which is working fine. Find unique. Kinda wish I could just go into the symbol. Don't think that's a thing. It's gonna sound weird, but I'm liking Micro a lot more than I liked NeoVim. Has no LSP? No, I think someone mentioned that it has LSP by default. to a certain extent, it has some basic syntax highlighting. But I feel like it did have. Language is C. I just need to remember where this find unique comes from. I don't believe it's from the vector stuff directly, so it might be from brain. Oh. Is it crashing when it does that? I feel like it's crashing. No, brain. I opened that for me. No, brain.h. No. Every time. If not, then it's gotta be ECS core. Seriously, it's not here? Do you think Linux will be the main OS in 5 years or 10 years future? No. It won't be. It's too complex. And its main supporters want it to be like that, so no. Is it a game for your own OS? Yes, though I've been working on getting it to work on Linux. Wait, is this it? No, find unique and find collision are not the same, but find collision is called internally. So this is what I want. Year of the Linux desktop. Yep, any day now. That's not gonna happen for a while. If ever. And let's face it, the only reason that Linux is even slightly usable by the average person is Steam. But even then, it isn't. So long as you have to use the terminal, it won't be the year of the Linux desktop. We'll go from 2.05 to 2.06. Oh, it's exciting. Okay, find collision is calling AABB, which is calling vector2add, which is in... Oh my god, this fucking thing. I do wish it was more easily navigatable with the mouse sometimes, because sometimes I need to use the mouse. Then again, that's what visual text editors are for. OS, shared math. That was vector. Yeah, but vector2add is probably in here as well, so... Vector2, okay, vector2add internally just does that. It does nothing else. It's not even using any of the vector2add intrinsics that I bothered implementing there. That's amazing, isn't it? So actually the whole time this has had nothing to do with the vector stuff. Fuck. Wait, no, because... Why did it just reset what I was looking at? Just because I resized the window. Come on, are you serious? Okay, collision size, adding two vectors together, putting it into an AABB, and then check collision AABB. Okay. We're gonna do that again. God, just what happened to the function? Oh, it's gotta be in the header, isn't it? Here. Which is just this. So these vector functions aren't even being called. They're only being called for some magnitude stuff, which I'm pretty sure is not even being used. So not only was that absolutely useless, there's a completely different bug happening. Which I now have to debug if I want to fix this. How did you move from one tab to the other? Because every time it does this when I use the mouse for... So I already forgot that. Amazing. Split. Control W. It just switches between these two. If I want to go to this one, how do I go to this one? Anyway. Put some debug lugs in here. Okay, that works as I expected to. That's pretty cool. See, micro is pretty no nonsense. I was going to say pretty nonsensical. I meant the opposite of that. Any languages that you enjoy or tolerate other than C and C++? I don't tolerate C++. Don't get that wrong. Maybe a little bit. Swift, kind of. It's not the best. It's not the worst. Kind of forced to use it if you want to do iOS stuff. Okay, so you're finding an object, so maybe it's not even the collision. What other languages? I guess C# is nice. I'm preferring lower and lower level stuff, so I don't care much for C#, but that is, it has nice syntax. It's simple and similar to C. Can't think of anything else right now. C is just coded. It's just the best. When are you doing the language competition stream? 1 hour with a different language? Oh, no, 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 no. There's absolutely no way in which that doesn't end with me checking into a mental institution. So absolutely not. Thank you very much. Then again, I probably would have said the same thing about this. And here I am, still allegedly sane. Okay, Bed. These are the tags for the beds. There are 26, 29, 32, 35, 38, 41. And yet, when I go to find a collision, it finds a collision for object 18. Which is not quite right. Oh, Zig. I would try Zig. I haven't tried it. I'll have to look into it. I know it's pretty interoperable with C, so I should. That's what I heard anyway. I don't know. I would to rage quit C++ for Zig. See, I'm possessing something according to this. Searching for possession, found possessable. But then it doesn't actually do anything with it. Well, here it claims to have possessed something, but that's a lie. Does have some ugly decisions, but still a million times better than the most hot violent shit that C++ is. I figured as much. I might take a look at Zig. Just kind of like the problem that I have with not using Zig is that most of what I'm doing eventually converges to one point. All of my projects are very interlinked with each other. So you have an operating system, you have this game, you have the other game that I want to make, which runs on the operating system. So I kind of want to keep my code base somewhat consistent because at the end of the day, like I said, very similar stuff. But maybe I'll find a way to... Again, Zig, I think, is pretty easy to integrate into an existing C code base. And if that's the case, I might give it a try. C++ is pretty easy to integrate into a C code base. Who knows, maybe I'll replace what I have in C++ with Zig. All right. Look. Not sure what I'm doing here. Kinda need to check if the game runs on... You can directly include a C header and start using it as if it was directly in C. Interesting. Might give it a try. I want to see if it runs on Redacted OS. Make ruin. Well, I don't know why I keep spelling it that way, but yeah. Oh, I need to recompile the engine too. Oop. The engine is not amazingly done. Oh, it has no arch by default. That's the problem. Arch 64 non-elf dash. Now let's see if that's correct. Yep. All right, let's see if it runs in here. No. I did recompile absolutely everything, right? I believe I did. And I believe it was also working on Redacted until recently. So I'm not sure what changed. But memory.c 135, that's probably I hate that this is open by default. Why would that be open by default? Line 135. Yeah, it's a memcopy instruction. Which is being called by this address apparently, 44BC4. Not sure. Microdump. That works for opening a file directly. Cool. What was the address? God, I lost it already. But yeah, it might be 44BC4. There's no scroll bar on this, is there? No matches found. That's a problem. Because I essentially have no idea why it's crashing. Okay, hold on. This runs. This runs. This does not. And it crashes the system. The entire thing. God, I hate that I've been debugging shit like this for like weeks now. And it just never ends. It's not even the curse of a growing project, it's just virtual addressing. Spin up. Nah, why am I doing it from here when really what I should be doing is... Again, why can I not click on that? That is annoying. Every time I use the mouse. Every time. It works, but then it shows me that. Here. Let me just put a little print. Wait. No, what changes do you want to make, bro? Okay. I just remembered something pretty cool that I learned yesterday. I thought this wasn't a thing. But it is a thing. Copy this value real quick. Mouse support broke in File Manager plugin since Micro reached 2.0 version. I see. Why does it not copy? God, copying and pasting in Linux is such a pain in the ass. I need this address. 410000170. Okay. But I learned something. You can do... No, in GDB, add symbol file kernel.elf ff0000 410017. I already forgot what it was. It was 41000170. 41000170. And that way, please let me copy. I can map my kernel on both high and low mappings, and it won't break my entire like GDB experience. So it actually makes this pretty useless piece of software slightly less useless. I still don't like GDB, I just want to make that clear. As if it wasn't already. Okay, put a breakpoint on 157. It still requires quite a lot of setup. But there we go. I have easy breakpoints now. Now I can do this. And there we have it. Okay, so the crash is not happening in my program. It is happening in here somewhere. All right. I also learned about Q. That was in the comments of my last short. So thank you to the person who told me that. GDB has actually become useful now. It's amazing. I thought I was genuinely done using it. Oop. Can I just enter? No. One of you is crashing, and I don't think it has to do with the program itself. I just think it has to do with the loading file. How many sections are in this elf file? Down. Come on, man. Can I just put a breakpoint visually? Nope. Alright, it's in here. It's in create process. Why is it not doing anything anymore? Hello? Cool. Anyway. Yeah, very useful piece of software. At least it works slightly better now. How big is this program? Damn. No, seriously, how big is this program? Okay, it's pretty big. Turns out. How long are we gonna be doing this for? Finally enough, we're almost done. And there's the crash. Oh. Okay. I think I understand what's happening. Essentially, when you load a process, you load an ELF file for the process, and you do this. There's all these functions that I'm not even using anymore for relocating code, but eventually I will need them, so kind of keeping them around. Yeah, I'm mapping the different sections of the code, which are text, data, read-only data, and BSS, which stands for something but essentially is uninitialized memory. Which of course the compiler can actually decide to not put in the final product. For optimization reasons, there's nothing important in that actual section of data, so it's not included in the ELF file, but it is important to the code. So I believe I ran into this optimization when it came to Doom. It was causing issues. I changed my linker file to not have this issue anymore. But now that I'm no longer using a normal linker file, it is back. To confirm it, yes. Okay, kind of. Mapping section this to this, final this. That's... I need to open a new tab here. I'm not sure what I'm doing. I'll go back to Helix. I like this one, I have to say. I'm liking it. The only issue I have is this. If I could even just silence it, because it does work. It just crashes and then continues to work either way, so... If I could just silence that, that would be great. Alright, pretty sure I'm just not allocating enough space. Because the BSS has a size of... It's the last section being allocated, this one. That's the BSS, the last one that gets allocated, right? Yeah. The last section that gets allocated is the BSS, which is not initialized, so it might not be getting included. It's not loaded properly. It is mapping, according to the thing here, original pointer 3B30434. Size is this one. And then I'm either not allocating enough space or I'm trying to just allocate a section that isn't actually there in the ELF file. That's the most likely option. So this address is invalid. And considering the fact that I go from address B3 to address BB, where the size is 4, that is actually, that does fit, so never mind. Because this log is a little bit hard to read. Why are you not scrolling? How can you? Okay, there. Do they overlap? I don't believe they overlap. I believe the section that I'm reading for in order to copy to the like I'm copying sections of the ELF file into memory. The problem is this section is not in the ELF file. It tells me there's this section here and I'm keeping track of that, but the section doesn't actually exist because it's uninitialized memory, so there's no need to put it in the ELF file. I think that's what's happening anyway. It would be nice to know, but I'm not entirely sure. 43B2, 43B9 versus B3BB. Wait. Mapping section, orig pointer. This is the pointer of it. This is the size of it. What's weird is that it says color address this. That's probably not right. That may be an issue with my backtrace code. But it's trying to access B54000. B5, which is straight up unmapped. I do wonder why it's unmapped. Because there should be something in that memory, but there isn't. Let me look at the way that I'm doing. Okay, BSS. I'm getting the section pointer from... God damn it, that's annoying. File plus header section offset. Yeah. But how do we know if that section exists or not? For that matter, why am I mapping the BSS at all? I'm already leaving enough space for it. And then I'm mapping unmapped memory to unmapped memory. That's dumb. No, it still crashes though. That's kind of weird about it. But it does launch. This time it launched. Um, can I see? Okay, hold on. How do I do this? Is it read elf? Yeah. Read elf with S. Okay, this is the section, and if I don't do anything with it, it should still be loaded. Because actually now it is able to load the program. And again, I was just doing an operation that's actually not useful at all. So I got rid of that. But now... Oh. Not sure if I'm accounting for this. This is... No, wait, this is size. Address is here, okay. 40,000, 41,000, 43,000, 43,000. Why are these the addresses anyway? Where did it say it crashed? Oh, it says it here. Four one two three seven five E8. Caller address 9DC. Address 43880000. 4388. It's probably within here. No. Hold up. The address that it's trying to access is 43880000. And that address is above this, kind of. 43. Okay. This adds up to 474 something else. So it is trying to access memory that is not mapped at all because it does not belong to me. The stack is mapped to these addresses. These addresses, I believe. .486, yeah, that's correct. Heap at this address, that's good. And no, the one it is trying to access is 438. Oh, it's so hard to tell. These addresses are so similar to the physical ones, but without being the physical ones, it's hard to tell which is which. All right, it tried to access 43888. No, 880000. This is a physical address because it starts with FFFF. This caller address is wrong. But that address does not correspond to any of the addresses of the stack, any of the addresses on the heap. It must correspond to the addresses on... Yeah, this address is way before any of this. It's like an entirely different process. It's around here. The window process has that address at 4388. The heap is probably there. Or yeah. I think the heap is at that address. The heap of the window process. So that's the one that's failing. Hold on. Since I have this again. Why did I do it like this? Nah, this is not helpful. Are you serious? Oh, it's right under. Okay. This address. Which is not gonna actually get copied. Add symbol file kernel.elf 0x FFFF000041000170. Then the crash is happening. Bum, 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 bum. No, I can do handle exception. And run the system until it crashes. At which point I can do a backtrace, which actually works. Okay. It's commit frame that's causing this crash now. At trace.cpp. Line 110. I'm liking Micro, I have to say. Oh. Wait, who's calling this now? No idea. It's being called with this frame here. And... oh, I already know who's calling it. No thanks to Micro, but I know who's calling it. Wait, no. Okay, I know who's calling. I just don't know where that who is. If I'm not mistaken, it might have actually been within the same file. Resize window. With... oh, it was actually within this file. Wait, I can search. It's pretty easy. You don't have to do anything particularly complicated. Commit frame. No, I wanted to search in this file. Okay, I was a little bit confused. Okay, thank you. Go to this file. Commit frame. This is the one who was calling it. Okay. That's a little confusing. The address that's not mapped is this one? Yeah, it's this address. 43880000. 43880000. Yeah, the address for the frame. But it very clearly exists because you're accessing it here before you even get to this point. So how exactly is that happening? Wait. Translation fault, third level, L4 table entry missing. So it's not mapped. That's weird. Okay, it seems like I am getting this frame variable. I'm using it here. I'm using it here. Then I'm passing it in here. It's no longer valid. That's a little bit weird, but I'll debug it because in 3 minutes because there's an ad coming up. All right, we're back. And, all right, let me see. There's a crash happening when resizing a window. So, on top of a previous crash with loading a process, there's also a crash with loading a window, with resizing a window. But it's a really weird one because this pointer is apparently not mapped. Whatever that means. But it works here, and then here it stops working, even though I'm using it here. I'm getting a value of it from here. Then I'm using it here, and all of a sudden it stops being valid. Why can I not scroll anymore? Oh, okay. I'm in search mode. All right. Whatever. There. Let me log that. Oh, Q just still requires confirmation. And it doesn't actually quit the damn program. Okay. There. It is not crashing the system anymore? What? What? First off, the pointer is always exactly the same. Second, it is not crashing the system anymore. Third, why is the default value where it's loading the process so high anyway? It's kind of a crazy value. No, I'm looking at the wrong one. It's this one. Suddenly it's not so high anymore. Alright. The problem is printing stuff stopped it from crashing. You know it's good when printing stuff changes the behavior of the crash. You know you're in for a good time. Alright, there we go. Now it's crashing again. And this does not match what GDB was telling me. No longer source file, you can enter, press F4 and it shows a list of the functions you can jump, double click to jump from there. F4 or something else with F4? Yeah, because this is just, it just blinked for a bit and then that was it. Jump cancelled. Yeah. Okay. Oh, I love having to install just a bunch of shit after I already installed other shit. I just love the way that Linux is designed. Feels great. Okay, so where is the crash happening exactly? Like, someone's lying here. It's either GDB or my program. I'm telling you it's GDB, but also not really. It changed again. The way that it works changed again. Are you serious? I hate these bugs. They're so inconsistent. Last time I was running out of stack memory because I only had 4 kilobytes. I doubt that's the case because now I have 64. And last time was like 3 days ago that this happened. God, that's annoying. There's 2 ridiculous bugs happening on 2 different systems. And now it's just not crashing like it was anymore. So it's not even giving me actual information about what's crashing in the process. It just got worse. Why is it not resizing the window properly? What changes could I possibly have made? What changes could I possibly have made that are causing this to happen? This is making less and less sense. Now it works fine. Now it doesn't anymore. Now it doesn't work fine anymore. Alright, hold on. And on my laptop it decided it no longer wants to work with input. There's bugs popping up everywhere that just make no sense. Oh, now input works. Alright. Yeah, so entirely inconsistent behavior happening in 3 different systems or whatever at this point. I can't keep track of what is even happening anymore. Why does that crash now? When it didn't before? I mean, I highly doubt it's the elf file stuff, but discard. Discard that. Discard this whole change. Whatever the hell this is. All right. It is literally an unmapped section of memory and somehow it is breaking it. That makes no sense. Alright, but why can I not click on anything anymore? File has changed. Okay. When did it change out? Oh yeah, because of lazy get. Okay. Alright. Process loading. Process loader. Right. This is a completely meaningless mapping happening here. And yet... Wait, how did you get to HID if you don't have transfer rings yet? I feel like you wouldn't have gone that far. Okay, I mean, BSS is BS. It is uninitialized memory. So I'm literally copying nothing from nothing. Nothing to an area that's already mapped. I'm not doing any mappings. I'm just copying zeros to an area that's already initialized with zeros. But if I skip that, then it crashes. And on top of that, resizing windows is not working. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, where's the mappings for this happening? Like, I don't understand how skipping a mem CPY is making this fail. Now it's not anymore. Maybe it wasn't that then? There's something inconsistent as hell happening. Alright. Again, mapping the BSS does not make any sense, so I skip that part. So far, so good. It seems to even run, perhaps. This is saved, yes. Yes. I can even make clean and make run. With fucking 98 cores. Let's go. I only have like 12, but still. I can run this, and then it crashes. Or what do you mean? What do you mean? Why did it not crash before and it's crashing now? That's another one. God, this is annoying. I haven't even started what I was gonna do today. Or, you know, the hacking game that I've been trying to do for 3 weeks. Obviously I need to port the engine to make it work, but now it works again. Quickly turn into an OS Dev stream. Yeah. I'm having bugs on this is so inconsistent. It's so hard to tell what's happening. Is there any chance that no, it's not being compiled weird? There's it wouldn't compile at all if it was something to do with the cross-platform, but alright, you know what? Screw it. This is clearly stuff for OS Dev, not for this. So I'm not gonna lie, I'm just gonna turn this into an OS Dev stream. Because I have no idea what to do. When it comes to the game engine, that's probably... I might just move that to tomorrow. I think it also makes more sense to work on the OS Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and then do something a little bit unrelated on Monday evening. So I'll try that instead, because yeah, I'm not entirely sure what I want to do with the game engine, so that's I don't have much to work on. Okay, but then again, that leaves me with, will it crash this time or will it not? I don't know. That leaves me with that. This fucking crash that makes no sense, is inconsistent. So I could go through the entire effort of setting up GDB for no apparent reason. No, thank God, it crashed. It's the same exact crash both times. The frame is wrong. It tries to access 43F80000, which is not a correct value, apparently. Except it's a value that exists. But I'm clearly not seeing it. Okay, I may start to understand what's happening. I just hate navigating. The biggest issue I have with terminal editors is opening a file is a hassle. And when you're debugging, you're going through a bunch of files. When you're working with different projects, so much worse. What I don't understand is how are you able to access this value through this pointer? If how is that a thing? How is that happening? You need to access this pointer to access this value, but then when you access this pointer, it's not valid? Wait. It's never using that pointer though. This is not about ELF files though. What is the insistence with that? It is absolutely irrelevant to this. Okay, hold on. What's this address? 4148297C. And then this address is the frame. But when we go to it, we're not actually accessing the frame. No, we're accessing it here. God, I hate debugging. Why can't everything just work on the first try? Okay, hold on. What's the exact instruction that's crashing? This, right? Oh, this is text editor. I probably shouldn't have. Hold on. There. My God, pasting. Pasting. Such a simple thing. Copy. Paste. No. Paste. Somehow that worked. Alright. memcpy is... Wait, I can do this. Right, memcpy is being called here. So it's after returning from memcpy that there's a problem. No, now I'm confused as to even what that means. That is the value most likely of adding 1 to it. So that must be this, dy. So is this value being overwritten? I'm not sure if this is just stack corruption, if it's what is it? Why is it happening? Why is it not always happening? Why can I not scroll back? Also, where's this call to... Oh, no, wait, this is after the loop, so never mind. This is making no sense. For that matter, why is it telling me that the crash is on line 110, which is the memcpy, if it happens after the call to memcpy and after the return in what seems to be the counter increase for the for loop on 109? Why are you just lying to me? Unless... Is there seriously no better way to do this? The scroll bar doesn't work. Jump has issues. No, I got the address right. Unless it wasn't supposed to be mapped here, and then the crash happened somewhere else. So GDB is pointing to the wrong place. Well, there is one way to know. 4102ABAC is line 109. Okay, so I did map it wrong. The address points to 109, which is the, not the memcpy, but this, dy++ is wrong. And the crash happened in trying to access 43F80000, which happens to be the exact pointer to the frame, and yet is unmapped. And also, yet it is outside of the stack of the process? What? Stack of the process is at 4387. Wait, no, that makes no sense. That's the address again. This one. Well, no, hold on. 41. Okay, so is everyone just fucking lying about everything ever? Why is this reporting a completely different address from the one that crashed? Oh, that's probably just because it's a memc. You know what? I have no idea what it is. That is memcpy. Okay. Okay, so GDB is just being completely unreliable as always, I feel like. The crash happened in memcpy, which my system actually recognizes. With the address being this one that's crashing, because it's not mapped, despite me accessing it before we get to this point and not touching it since. GDB instead tells me that the crash is happening in the line right before or right after, or it doesn't seem to know what's going on actually. So that's not helpful. But my system also seems to not know what's going on with this value here. And essentially, I have no idea what the crash is. I have no idea why it's happening. And I have no idea how to fix it or why it only happens sometimes. Cool. Did I forget anything? Yeah, I was supposed to be doing game development instead of this, but okay, to be fair, that one was a choice to stop it because I didn't know what to do. And I would like the game to run on my system, and it currently isn't running on my system, so I get it. Alright, okay, so GDB, useless as always, thank you very much. Here's what we're gonna do instead. First off, does this happen when I run the terminal? Well, it doesn't happen when I run this either, so that's not helpful. It does happen when I run the terminal. The terminal, which does not actually do any resizing of the window. The exact same bug happens there. Does it happen the first time I run it? Well, not here. Try again. Nope. Also no. It either stopped working or I don't know. I'm gonna go crazy. Is there even a bug or not? Who knows? Maybe I just hallucinated the whole thing. I do know that this is okay. So I might as well just do that. Wait, are you serious? Oh, these are unrelated. Either way. Might as well check. That was just a different bug. That one's just one that likes to kick me when I'm down. There it is again. This is so incredibly annoying. Also, I would love to know why my stack trace seems to not understand which value is causing the crash. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I have no idea what to do now. I can either spend hours debugging this, painstakingly debugging a bug that I don't even understand, where it seems like all the debugging tools are telling me that it's happening from different places and that only happens once in a while when it feels like it. Or I can do some game development, which I have no idea how to do. Or that's it. That's all I can possibly do. Not sure how to proceed. Good to know that that thing that used to happen when I first started streaming, where Sundays would just be the most ridiculous bug that would just completely halt anything that I wanted to do, is back. It's a very common thing to happen on Sundays. And yeah, it's lovely because it means that I don't get to do anything. But I'm not sure how to proceed here. So most likely, I'm going to end the stream here. I'm going to go to church and like pray that the answer just manifests in front of me or whatever, because I don't know how I'm gonna debug something so annoying to debug, I have to say. Oh my god. Yeah. I wonder why everything keeps breaking. You fix one thing and another thing breaks. And all since I started doing virtual memory. So I'm starting to feel like virtual memory might have just been a mistake. Maybe it was just something that was never meant to be. Maybe the ELF file format is just stupid for requiring you to use virtual memory. It technically doesn't require you to use it, but it's gonna be a pain in the ass if you don't use it. Anyway, lovely Linux standards. That one's on me for using a Linux file format, which is, you know. If I didn't want to do that, would I just have to make my own compiler at this point? Whatever. The point is I've already implemented virtual memory and there's no going back. Now I have to leave. Now I have to fix all these issues, and loading the ELF file is absolutely not the issue. I can tell you that much. It also does not matter how you load it, as long as you load the important information, which I am. Okay, so I got the amazing task of debugging this for the rest of today. I was planning on gaming later, but I'm not sure if I'm going to or not. I guess stay tuned to the Discord for that. I'm going to have a blast. Amazing. Yeah, this is exactly how I have spent actually like several Sundays, because this keeps happening on Sunday. I don't know what it is about Sunday that's just like, yeah, let's fucking break everything. You're gonna love debugging it. Maybe I just shouldn't stream on Sundays anymore. Maybe I should just not do that. And then I will have to stop debugging random broken stuff on Sundays. But yeah, it's gonna be amazing. I might just give up and go live in a cabin in the woods and never touching a computer ever again. Or I might fix it in 5 minutes. Who knows? Okay, tomorrow I'm going to hopefully figure out what I want to do with my game engine a little bit more, and maybe start actually doing stuff, because that would be cool. But then again, if I can't run it in my own system, it kind of defeats the purpose of doing a game in the first place. Not really, because I still want to make a game for the sake of making a game, but you know, kind of a missed opportunity if you're making something cross-platform and you're not including the platform that you built. So I kind of need the platform that I built to work, which it's trying its hardest not to. All right, so with that, thank you so much, everybody. Enjoy not debugging the crazy shit that I have to debug. That's all I can say about that. Enjoy not doing that. And watch it be the most ridiculous, stupid bug ever. With that, thank you so much, everybody. Again, I might play RimWorld, because I've been interested in playing that for a while. It's been a long time since I have. And I might stream it, so stay tuned to Discord for information on that later today. That depends on how much debugging breaks me, essentially. Which might actually increase or decrease the chances of me playing and streaming. I'm not entirely sure. So stay tuned to the Discord for that. And I will see you either tomorrow for some actual game development, hopefully, or later today for some game playing, or Friday for some more OS dev. I will see you then.